Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video, we are going to talk about different ways that we can use to initialize multidimensional arrays. So this class will be pretty cool because it will look confusing, but actually it's things that will make our life easier. Let's copy the name of this class because we are going to start a new class. Sorry, sometimes typing and talking at the same time is quite difficult. So just copy the name and then replace the last digit by from 1 to 2 and then create a new class. Okay, so just a quick recap. We know that when we are creating arrays, we need to use brackets. And we have two brackets. It means that we do have now an array with 2 dimensions. And then we can give a name, base array, or actually just array. And we know that we need to give at least the base of this array to get started. But then what happens if I try to use? So let's just use what we learned in the previous video. Let's create a for, and I want this for to have a reference variable that's an array of integers, and I will give the name here as base array, and then I would like this to go over whatever I have inside my array. And now I will just create another one. As we know, now we can just try to print some numbers, and the array is whatever this base array is having a reference to. So what do you think it will happen? Try to think what will happen right now before you even try to compile and execute. Just try to draw and see what would probably happen. So if you did the drawing, you would see that you got to an empty space. And when we reach an empty space in Java, we get something called no pointer. So basically, we are saying, okay, now we have an array with 3 positions. But remember the initialization that we have for each one of the types. And I said that once we have a reference type, the default initialization value will be null. We saw the string example. And I also said that each one of all the arrays, they are going to be objects. And if you have an object, you need a reference variable to have a reference to that object. So this means that this position, that's an array of integers, are reference variables. But since we are not initializing, what we have inside? Nothing, null. And when we try to use null, we get no pointer exception. Means that you are pointing, trying to use something that's no place to point to. So how can we actually initialize? And we know how to do this if we are just using the same pattern from the previous video. So array position 0. I would like now to have a reference to an array of 2 positions, so sides 2. And my position 1, I would like to have 3. And the position 2, I would like to have 6. Whoa, it's getting pretty complicated. Let's draw. So basically, I have to use this one because I don't know how to reduce the size of this one right here. So basically, this is what we have now. We have one array with 2, and then we have another array with 3, and we have another array with 6. So basically, it doesn't matter the size of the array that we are having a reference to. So each one of the blocks right here, the spaces in memory, they can have a reference to a completely different array with a completely different size, as long as they are the same type, that's an integer. So basically this one is here, this one is here, and this one is having a reference to this one right here. And now if we print the values, basically, you know, whatever is inside here, this is the array itself. They are integers, and the default value for integers is 0. So we do have here 0, 0, 0. So actually we can use south here. South is going to print and then jump one line. So I will just add here, and I will add at the end the \n. This means jump one extra line. Actually, I think it will be at the beginning. And here I'm going to remove the ln, kind of line next or next line. And this will print everything together. And I will have to give just small space. Let me see how this will look like. Yes, so let me just jump before. There you go. So we have now the first, the second, and the third array. Okay, William, it looks nice. Now I understood what you are trying to say, that we can have different sizes for the array that we are going to reference in each one of the base array positions. What if I would like to initialize? You said in the previous class that we have different ways to initialize our arrays, and actually we can also use the same here, but this will not work with multidimensional arrays. So for example, I cannot just start this one like this. So you will see that this will not work, and saying that array initializer is not allowed in this case. But there is something that is allowed. You can still use this syntax for that. And now we will see 1, 2 in the first array. There is another thing you can do. If you still want to use this syntax, I will copy this one and I will add here numbers, just numbers, and 3 positions, 3 numbers inside, and I will say now my position 1 will have a reference to numbers. And now you will see 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And I can do exactly the same thing. For example, here I will just remove this one, and I will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Control Alt L to format your code, and now Control Shift F10. And we have our array. So basically, there are several ways for you to initialize your arrays. There is another option. Let's say that you just want to initialize everything, including the base array and the arrays that are having a reference from the base array. So how can we do it? I will copy this one, and I will just call it array 2 for lack of imagination right now. And if we go back here, we can see, so this is how we can initialize a base array. And we do the same, we initialize the base array. But then we do have one problem here. What's the size of the base array? And then we can define the size by adding more curly braces. So now I am saying that the base array will have the size of 3, because 1, 2, 3. And what about the values, the size of the arrays inside? Well, we can do this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically, we are initializing exactly the same array that we have here, but in one line. And if I change here the reference to array 2, Control Shift F10, we have exactly the same result. So this is just a way for you to initialize multidimensional arrays. Okay, so I think that's everything that I wanted to tell you. I said it can get a bit complicated because it's your first time and seeing so many like curly braces, brackets everywhere, numbers. But once you work and you just start coding and practicing, you will get used to it, and you will even have some dreams about this syntax later. So I hope you are enjoying. See you in the next video. Bye.